Hey guys, what is going on? It's your boy Soulstrip here, back with a brand new video. And in today's video, guys, it is part 5 of the How to Learn JavaScript for Minecraft Bedrock. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you all of the different forms that you can do inside of Minecraft, including the action form data, model form data, and the message form data. Also, along with that, I'm going to be showing you how to open the forms with an item, just like this. And also how you can do it with custom commands. So if we do .form2, you guys can see we open a message form data, and this allows us to open up another form. Again, this is an action form data, and then if we click on that, obviously it teleports us to a random spot. So that is what we are going to be covering today. So let me just show you them real quick. So this is a action form data. Now action form data can have a title, a description, and then have buttons. They can have up to 30 buttons. And then if we open up form 2 here, this is what we call a message form data. Now a message form data allows us to put a title, a little message inside this box, basically a description, and then 2 buttons. So again, we've got warps and we've got kill all. And then we've also got a model form data. Now model form data allows us to put a title. It allows us to put a little text box that people can type in. Have a drop down menu. So this is a drop down menu where they can select. It's also got a slider and also a switch, so we can toggle things on and off. So that is all of the forms, and let's dive into Visual Studio Code. Again, all of this code is downloadable down in the description, and it comes with all of the notes that you'll need from this video. But I highly recommend watching this video so I can explain it to you, so you don't have to go through and read all of the notes. So yeah, let's open up Visual Studio Code and let's get into it. So guys, here we are inside of Visual Studio Code. Now, if you guys have a script manifest, then please make sure that the Minecraft server and the Minecraft server UI dependencies are fully up to date. So the latest version for when this video comes out will be 2.0.0-beta for both of them. They're not always the same, so just check the versions by visiting the link in the description to see the most stable version. And Minecraft will also tell you if you're loading in with the wrong version, because it will request a different version and then tell you what version it's requesting. But again, as this video goes out, it's going to be 2.0.0-beta. So make sure that in your dependencies in the manifest, you've got that set up and all up to date. Now, if we go to our entry file, the first thing we need to do is import things from the server UI and at Minecraft/server. So what we're going to import from the server UI is going to be action form data. Make sure that A, F, and D are capitalized for this. And we also need to import message form data. So that's going to be a capital M, a capital F, and a capital D. Model form data, the exact same, M, F, and D capitalized. And then if you're going to be using custom commands, so if we go back to Minecraft here and we type .form2, this is a custom command. So if we click it, you guys can see that it would normally just open straight away. And then when we close the menu, it's not going to open because it's already ran. But because we have form cancellation reason, it will continuously try to open the GUI until we actually exit out of the chat. So that's what I want you guys to import if you're using custom commands. It's going to be form cancellation reason, because we're going to be using that later on in the video when we get down to the custom commands part. And that's going to be from the @Minecraft/server UI. Now for the @Minecraft server, very simple. All we need to do is import the player, the system, and the world. Now player will have a capital P, and then system and world can be lowercase. Do not put a capital for these, as you can see it's grayed out. It will not work. So make sure they are lowercase. Now, all of this is case sensitive, like a lot of things in Minecraft scripting. So when I tell you it's got a capital, please put a capital. And if you see that it's a lowercase, please put it in lowercase, because if you don't, it's not going to work. So yeah, that's the importing done. So now let's get to the item use event. So we can detect when a player is using the item, and in my case, that's going to be a compass. So let's get into that. So here we are at the item detection, I guess you could call it. It's the item use event. So for this, we need to type world.afterEvents, make sure the E is capitalized. Then we're going to do .item use and make sure the U is capitalized. Then we're going to .subscribe, so we're going to subscribe to the event. And with the event, we're going to collect the data. Now, to collect the data, make sure to open two brackets, type data, then close bracket. Then we're going to do an arrow function and open up some curly brackets. And then we're going to go to the next line and create an if statement. Now, if statements I've already covered in my previous videos in this series. So if you want to learn more about if statements and events, please go ahead and check that out. So yeah, you're going to do an if statement, then open up some curly brackets and type data.itemStack. Make sure the S in item stack is capitalized. I'm going to do .type ID, and again, make sure the I in type ID is capitalized. Then we're going to do equals, 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 and then in quotation marks, we're going to put the item in here that we are going to be using. So in my case, it's the Minecraft compass. So I've put Minecraft compass there. Then we're going to close it off with a normal bracket. Then we're going to open up a curly bracket, and then we're going to type the function, and the function currently won't be lit up, but it will be when we do the actual form later on in this video. So just type in anything. I've put show menu. You guys can put spawn menu, main GUI. You can call this anything, but make sure that you open up two brackets at the end. Oh yeah, and also make sure that you don't put any spaces, because spaces will not work. So yeah, but I've put show menu, but you guys can put whatever you want. Then we're going to open some brackets, and then we're going to put data.source, and then we're going to close that bracket off. And then we're going to end the line, and we're going to then put a closed curly bracket, and then we're going to put another closed curly bracket, and then a normal closed bracket, and end that line. Now this is basically going to test whether the person is using a compass, and that is using the item use event. So this is basically just testing when a person uses the item, and then it's going to run the function show menu on the data's source, which is going to be the player in this instance. So now we've got that out of the way, let's get to the chat commands part. Now this is going to be a very big section, but don't worry, it's very, very simple. It's just a lot of switch cases. The code is very, very simple. So let's get to the chat send event right now. So this is the chat send event for the custom commands. Now this is the original way of doing custom commands. People didn't like how I did my own custom commands, and people didn't want to learn the way that I did custom commands. So I thought, why not use the original way and showcase it in this video? But yeah, so what we're doing here is we're going to do world.before events, make sure the E is capitalized. Then we're going to do .chatsend, making sure the S is capitalized. Then we're going to .subscribe to the event, and we're going to grab the data just like we did in the previous statement. And then we're going to do a arrow function, and we're going to open up some curly brackets. Then we're going to do another if statement. Now this if statement is going to have an open bracket, and it's going to be message.startWith, and the W is going to be capitalized. Then we're going to open a bracket and open two quotation marks. Now inside this quotation mark is going to be what your custom commands are going to start with. Now your custom commands cannot start with a /, but a lot of people like to use dots and dashes. So yeah, you guys can use whatever you want though. An equal sign, a plus sign. I've seen a plus sign being used before. You can use absolutely anything, but in this we're going to be using a dot. And then we're just going to close off those brackets. I'm going to open up a curly bracket. Then we're going to do data.cancel equals true. Now what this does is it's going to cancel the message being sent inside of public chat. So if we go to Minecraft and actually show you, whenever I put a dot in and type, it's not going to show up in the chat. But if I type anything else, it is. But because it's got a dot, whatever I put after the dot isn't going to be sent into the chat, as you can see. So that allows it to where if we was doing custom commands, other people in the chat aren't going to be seeing that you're doing them custom commands. So that's why we do a data.cancel. Now, if you want custom commands to show up in chat, we can simply just get rid of this and it will work perfectly fine. So look, if we just get rid of this and then we do a / reload inside of here and we do .sub, as you can see, it'll work. And if we run the form command .form2, you'll see that it'll say it's opening form2 and it typed in chat. And then as you can see, the custom command still works. So if you do want your custom commands to show up in chat for whatever reason, then you can do that. But if you don't want them to show up in public chat, then simply do data.cancel equals true. That'll just cancel the event from actually being sent to public chat. But you can only cancel things if it's a before event. If you try and do an after event, it won't work because the event's already fired, it's already happened. So make sure if you're doing a data.cancel, then make sure that you do it in a before event, otherwise it won't work. Now we're going to slice this up. So what this is going to do, it's going to remove the dot from the actual command when we have to type menu and things like that. Otherwise, if we don't do this, then we try to run it. It's not actually going to run. I didn't do a / reload. So if I actually do it, as you can see, it's not going to run because it doesn't know what it's trying to do. Because apparently to the game right now, dot is not part of the commands. If we wanted to do that, then we would have to change our switch cases. So make sure that we slice this up and get rid of the dot. Now the way we're going to do that is we're going to create a constant by typing const. Then we're going to create an argument, which is called message.split. So that's going to be args. And that's going to be equals message.split. And we're going to open a bracket. And then in quotation marks, we're going to put what we put for our custom command. So again, as the dot. So again, we just put dot here. Then we're going to slice it, which means it's going to get rid of it. So the dot slice is going to be on the first value, which is the first character. So 0 is 1 in JavaScript. I know it's very confusing, but JavaScript does not count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It counts from 0. So it'll go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it doesn't count from 1, it counts from 0. So just remember that for whenever you're doing scripting. So yeah, and you'll also see that inside of the scripts that I show later on. So then once we've done that, we're going to create a switch. Now the switch is going to allow us to put many different things inside, and it's going to detect what that case is from the switch and run a certain thing underneath that case. So we're going to type switch, and then we're going to open a bracket and type args, which is going to be just up here. And then we're going to open a curly bracket. Then we're going to do our first case. So you're going to type case, and then you're going to, inside of your quotation marks, you're going to type what that custom command is. So for example, here we've got menu. So if we actually go back to the game and do a / reload, and then we do .menu, you guys can see it'll open the menu and it will open our test GUI. And that will go for if we was to just type, I don't know, sub, and then save it. Now I did .sub earlier, and it didn't do anything. As you can see, it's not doing anything because it's not a custom command. But now we've set it as a custom command and we've reloaded. You guys can see we do .sub and then it opens up the menu. So that's custom commands with, GUIs, but there's a lot more to it. So let's go back into Visual Studio Code. Now, what we need to do is we don't really need to send a message, but if you want to send a message in the chat to that particular person doing a command to tell them that it's opening the menu or anything like that, then do sender.send message. Make sure the M is capital, and then in some brackets we're going to put quotation marks and what that's going to say. So if we just put hi, I'm the message, for example, and then we go back to Minecraft and do a / reload. If we do .sub now, you guys can see it says hi, I'm the message, and then as soon as we close chat, it's opening up the GUI. Now, this isn't going to work straight off the bat because there's something we need to do inside of the form to actually wait for us to exit the chat before it can open up the form. But we'll get to that later on. So now we've got system.run. Now this system.run, it's going to run the event from the system, so it's going to run it straight away. Then it's going to do an arrow function, just like that. And it's going to run the function, which is show menu. Now, if we look at this, right, this is a little different from this right here. So we had show menu up here, but down and we ran that on the data.source. But down here, we're going to run it on the sender, because how the data is being grabbed from the chat send event, it's grabbing the sender and it's also grabbing the message. We don't need to grab the message in this case. We just need to grab the sender. So we just obviously grab all of the data and then we say to run it on the sender, which is going to execute the function on the player who sent the message. To put it in more simpler terms, it's going to run the function on, well, it's going to open the menu on whoever typed in the custom command. So that's what the show menu, that's going to be the name of your function, and the function is going to be running our form. But yeah, so the show menu, and that's going to be running on the sender. And all of these are the exact same. They're just different examples that you can use. So all of these are the exact same. So yeah, these are just opening different things that obviously we are going to be talking about. So for example, the message form, that's going to open a message form. And the model form, that's obviously going to be opening a model form. But you can call them whatever you want. For example, the warp menu, that's going to open up the warp menu because we've done a custom command called warp. But if you don't want to call it a warp menu and you just want to call it menu, you can. You can call it whatever you want. But make sure that this function right here, the yellow part, make sure that that adds up to the function that we're going to be running later on. But yeah, that is the chat send command for, that is the chat send event for the custom commands. So that's that done. Now let's talk about forms. So here is our first function that is called show menu, and this is going to be the action form data. So we're talking about the action form data now, and how to create an action form data. So the action form data consists of a title, a body, up to 30 buttons, and then we will run a .show. Now to do this, we need to type function, and then we need to type what we called our function. So again, our function is called show menu, and then we're going to be running that on the player. So we've told whatever function we've got previously, we've told that to run the function on the data.source or run it on the sender. This is just saying to run the function now, show menu, and run that on the player. This has to be player. It can be data as well, but the way that we've set it up, it has to be player. So don't worry about any other ways of doing it other than the way that I've showed you guys, because this is the easiest way to make forms. But yeah, so right now we're doing function, show menu, and then we're going to do player. Make sure the player is inside of brackets. Then we're going to open up a curly bracket, and we're going to type in new action form data. Now the action form data we imported, and we're going to be using that now. So as you can see, we've imported action form data. It says literally right here that we imported it. So the action form data is going to be exactly how we imported it. It's going to be a capital A, a capital F, and a capital D. Once we've created a new action form data, we're going to be putting 2 brackets at the end, and then we can start setting up the form. So action form data, like I said, consist of a title, a body, up to 30 buttons, and then a .show. Now the .show is necessary to tell the script how to actually show the form to the player. So when you do .title, we're going to obviously just type whatever we want here. I've put test GUI. And then for the body, we've got testing action form. And then we've got a button called warps and a button called kill all. Now with the buttons, when a player actually clicks on a button, we can actually test with a switch case to detect whatever button they pressed. And then we can either open up another form if you really wanted to. So if you wanted to make a form inside of a form inside of a form, you can do that. And that's what we did with the warps menu. And you can also run a command. So for example, we've got kill all, which will just grab every single player from the world and kill everybody. Or you could do player.run command. So it runs a command from the actual player. They don't need operator for this, so don't worry about having to give out operator. Even if they're a normal member, they can still run a player.run command. Just keep in mind, guys, player.run command async that you may have seen in my previous videos does not work anymore. They completely removed it, but player.run command is still inside of scripting API. So if you've got anything that's doing player.run command async, just remove the async and it will work perfectly fine. But anyway, getting back to this. So for the title, we've got testing GUI, the body, we've got testing action form, and then we've got two buttons called warp and kill all. Now if we go back to here, as you can see, this is the UI that we was just talking about. So the title, which is test GUI, and then we've got our little body here, which is a little description saying testing action form, and then we've got button 1, which is warps, and then button 2, which is kill all. So that is how you set up the form, but this is not going to work unless we do a .show. So we need to finish off this form now. So we're going to do a .show, and then we're going to open up a bracket and type player. Again, we've got player up here, so we are showing the player. I'm going to close that and then do a .then, and then we're doing data, and then we're going to do an arrow function. Now this is if the player is running it from custom commands. You don't need this if you're not doing custom commands, but if you are using this for custom commands, then you do need this if statement. Now, anyway, so we're going to do an if statement, and this if statement is going to be opening up a bracket and doing data.cancellation reason. Now remember, we imported cancellation reason, form cancellation reason, sorry, in the imports, and as you can see, it says import form cancellation reason. So we're going to do data.cancellation reason equals, and then we're going to type form cancellation reason. Again, the F, the C, and the R needs to be capital, and again, I forgot to tell you about this one. For the cancellation reason, the R needs to be capital. But once we type in form cancellation reason, we're going to do dot user busy. Now the user busy is going to be what the cancellation reason is, and the user busy is if they have another form open, or if they have chat open, or anything. So user busy could be having the chat open, it could be having the game paused, it could be having another menu open, it could be interacting with a chest, it could be having a village trading GUI open. It could be anything that is on their screen which prevents the form from opening. So this is why we use form cancellation reason for custom commands, because the user is going to be busy, so it's going to cancel the form. And if that is true and it can't open the form, we're going to open up a curly bracket. I'm going to do return, and then we're going to put the same function as the function that we've put up here, which creates the new action form data. And we're going to run that on the player. Now, basically what this is going to do, it's an infinite loop. So if the function runs and the player is in the chat, it's going to read return, and it's going to run this function again. So it's going to go back to the top, and it's going to try again. And it's going to say, is the player busy? Yep, the player's busy. So we're going to try and open it again. So it's an infinite loop that's going to continuously try and open the form until the user is no longer busy. So when the user is no longer busy, that means that they've opened the, they've closed the chat, or they've closed the chest, or they've got out of the pause menu, anything like that. So if we type form2 here and enter it, you guys can see we can wait here for as long as we want. We can even type in chat, do whatever we want to do. Run a command if we really wanted to, absolutely anything. We can just wait forever because of the infinite looping function. And then as soon as we're no longer busy, as you can see, it opens up the form for us. So that is what this does with the if statement. And then again, if data.cancelled, then we obviously just return it. So if it was cancelled, we just return. Now we need to do a switch case. So the if, open bracket, data.cancelled, then return. Then we need to do a switch case within this if statement. So this switch case is going to be switch and then data.selection. Now the data.selection is what the buttons are. So the selection is whatever button they click on. Now again, I did tell you that JavaScript counts from 0, then goes to 1. So our first case is going to be 0. Just like in the custom commands, we always start from 0 in JavaScript because 0 is basically the first one. It's number 1. But in JavaScript, it counts from 0. So we've got case 0, and that is going to be the first button that is selected. So our first button here, so it does go in order. So this will be 1, this will be 2. Again, if we do another one, that'll be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. So yeah, buttons do go in order with the switch case. So our first button is warps, and that's going to return, and that's going to run another function, which is another GUI function. Now, our warps menu is what opens our warps. So if I just show you what that is, that's going to be this. And then, as you can see, if we click this, it's going to run the warps function, which is another action form data, which is doing the same thing. It's creating a title, it's creating a body for us, and then it's creating three different buttons. Now we have got a back button. Now what this back button is doing is simply doing what this is doing, which is returning and then a function, and all it's doing is returning the show menu function to open up the first test GUI, which is what I'm showing here. Then we've got case 1. Now case 1 is the kill all. Now all this is doing is world.get players, and then it's doing for each player, we're doing p.kill, and then it's going to break. Now I do recommend with every single case that you do that you always type break, so you don't end up going to the next one. Now if it's a return, it won't work, but if you're doing a player command, like player.run command, or if you're doing another function, make sure to put a break in. Now, if it's a return, that's perfectly fine. We don't need to do it. But if it is anything else, which is most things, you will need a break for them. That's why we've got a break down here, because if we didn't put a break here and we just done player.run command, for example, so run command, and then we'll get it to run a command. What command can we do? We could do kill at a type equals creeper. Let's just do that. Type equals like that. Then we'll save that. And then we're going to put the break here, and you'll see that it won't actually run this because it's been broken out. And then if we remove the break, as you can see, it's been highlighted again, so that's going to work. So yeah, that's why you need breaks. If we was to do another case here, so case 2, and then we did player.run command here, for example, like we did before. So player.run command, say hi, whatever. This will actually still run, even if they click this, because there's no break. So the script doesn't know when to end, so it'll run this, and then it'll say, oh, this, and then it'll also run this, even though we haven't clicked the third button, if there was a third button. And I'll show you that later on down the line when we get deeper into the script, when I show you the warps menu with the back button. So yeah, this is obviously the show menu, and that is how you create an action form. So that is action form data. So now let's move on to message form data, which is much, much more simpler. So let's do it. So here we are. This is the message form data. So this is message form. So with message form, it includes a title, a body, and then only 2 buttons. It only has 2 buttons. Message form data does not have any more buttons. You can't add any more than 2, so it only has 2. So with the 2 buttons, you could have this as a questionnaire. You know, if you was testing your players for some reason, like testing if they know the rules, then you can do it with this. Or if you just wanted to say, do you want to participate in this minigame? They click yes, it teleports them. They click no, it does nothing. So this is it, right? This is the message form data. So for the message form data, we add a title, and that title is going to be at the top of the form. and then the body is going to be what the message is. So I showed you what that was. So if we do dot form 3, I think message form data is. No, that's model form data that we'll be getting into later on. This is message form data. So you can see test GUI, which is our title, and then testing message form. And that is what we've got here. Now, it does have its limits. If we just copy this and paste it all in, and then do a / reload, and then show it again. That's me reloading a bunch. As you can see, it does have its limits, but they can scroll down. But yeah, there isn't a limit. So there you go. That's your message form data. So again, we've got warps here, and we've got kill all. And again, all this is doing, so if we just go all the way back, you'll see that we've got button 1. Now, you don't do dot button like you do in the action form data. You must specify that it's dot button 1 and dot button 2. I don't know why, but that's how the scripting API is. It can be weird sometimes. But yeah, so we've done dot button 1, which is our warps, and then dot button 2. And then it's the exact same if statement that we did before to make sure that if they are opening this with commands, then make sure to just put the player in an infinite loop until the form can actually, open. So yeah, that's what this if statement is. And then again, we've got the if statement data.cancel to return. And then we've got our switch case. Again, it's the exact same thing as we did for the action form data. It's the same thing with the switch case. So we've got switch data.selection, and then we've got case 0, which is button 1, and we've got case 1, which is button 2. Again, it's very confusing, but JavaScript counts from 0. Minecraft just called it button 1 and then button 2 in their script API, but JavaScript is still the same language. It will count from 0, then go to 1. So case 1 is your button 1, and case 0 is your button 1, and then case 1 is your button 2. And then obviously this is just the exact same kill that we've got. And again, just because it's a different form, it still has to have breaks. Switch cases are still going to be the same. But yeah, that is message form data. So now let's move on to the very, very big one, which is the model form data. So yeah, let's do model form data. So again, we've got the function model form, and then the player. Again, the function can be called anything, but make sure it matches up with either your custom commands or your first function that you put in, which is going to be linked either to the item, or it's going to be linked to, if you've opened a form already and you want it to actually open a model form data next, then obviously that's going to be the same as whatever function you put for that. And then again, that's going to run on the player. And then we're going to put new model form data. So again, it's the same with action form data and message form data. We put new and then what we're creating. So in this case, we're creating model form data. So that will build a model form data for us. And then the dot title, again, it's very self-explanatory. It is the title of the GUI. And then we've got dot text field. Now, a dot text field is this. So let's get out of this real quick and open up form 3. And this is going to be our dot text field. Now, our text field can be anything that we put inside of it. It allows players to type things in. If you wanted to save that to a database and things like that. If you want to know about databases, then check out my video on dynamic properties. But yeah, so that is a text field. It's self-explanatory. It's a thing where players can type text in. And then we've got inside of the text field, this is what we're going to put, enter name. Now, then we've got obviously the name. So you're going to have to put something inside of these. You can put anything you want. So if we actually get rid of this now and then click off it, you'll see where it says name. And then you've seen that it said sub and like when we actually had opened the menu. So if we just close the menu and reopen it, you'll see that the first thing we see is sub and like. And then we've got enter name up here. So what it's going to do for the enter name, that is going to be above the text field. That's going to tell players what that text field is. So you could put enter your name, enter your faction name, anything, right? What's your favorite color? Absolutely anything, right? And that's just going to be the little text that is above the actual text field. Then what we've got is we've got where it says name in quotation marks. Make sure after every single one of these we put a comma. Then in quotation marks we've got name. Now what that is, like I showed you before, that's if the player gets rid of the default value, which I'll speak about the default value in a second, and then clicks off it, it's just going to say name. You can put anything here. You can put the same as the button or absolutely anything, or you could put example and then, type an example. So we're going to do that right now just so you know what I mean. So we can just put example, right? And then we can just put mark, right? And then we'll open up Minecraft. We will do a /reload. /reload. And then we will do form3. And if we get rid of that default value, you will see it says example, mark. Then we can just obviously type in mark or whatever you want to type in, right? So that's that. But now we have a default value. When they open it, this is already going to be filled in. So as you see, it says sub and like. So you can fill something in here if you want it to be pre-filled. You don't have to put this, but you can put something in here. And that's where we come to closing off the comma and then opening up a curly bracket. And then we can put in default value. Make sure V has it. The V in value is capitalized. And then we need to put a colon. And then we need to put inside of quotation marks what we want that to be. So I say sub and like, and I can put whatever I want in here. So we can just put Mark is my name. And then we can go down to this. And then if we do a /reload and then open up form3, you guys can see it says here that it's already filled in. Mark is my name. So that is the text field. Then we've got a drop down menu. Now there's so many things you can do with a drop down menu. If I just hover over this, I don't have node modules installed, but a drop down menu you can do so many things with, right? You can put a list of players if you get all of the players in the world. You can put different things in there like item 1, 2, and 3 like we've got here. But what we're going to do first, when we do drop down, we're going to give it a name above it. So this is going to be select item. As you can see, it says here, select item. So that is the name above the drop down menu. After that, we need to create a little square bracket box. And that is going to be where we put our things inside of the drop down. Now there's another name for this, but I'm just going to call them, you're just going to put them in square brackets. You don't really need to know the name. And to be honest with you, off the top of my head, I can't think of it. But yeah, so when you put it inside of an array, that's it, array. So this is an array. And when you put things inside of an array, they are grouped together. So again, JavaScript counts from 0. So if we want to list item 1 inside of the default value index, we will need to put 0. But anyway, inside of here, we can put whatever we want. So we can put bro, and we can put hi, and then we can put I like diamonds, right? And then we can open up Minecraft here, and then when we do a /reload, just like so, and then we open up form3, you guys see, why did that not work? Save that again. And then we do a /reload. There we go. Now it should work. So as you can see, we've got select item, and then we've got bro, we've got hi, and we've got I like diamonds. But if you noticed, when we first opened it, it goes to hi, which is our second listed item. So the way we do a default value is exactly what it says in the script. It says here, when we open up a curly bracket and put default value index, this is going to be what it starts off as. It's the exact same as when we put a default value here, or where it says Mark is my name. So the default value index, if we was to change that to 0 and then save it, now it's going to be on bro. So it's on high when we first open it, but now if we do it, as you can see, when we do a reload, of course, as you can see, now it starts off as bro. Now we've got a slider. Now sliders are fun. You can do this to add to a cell menu. If you really wanted to have a cell menu inside of a model form data, like you don't need to put a text field. You can just put select item, and then you select an item, say bro, and then we can select 8, confirm it, and then click OK. As you can see, it's showing what we put. And I'll show you how to do that. But you can do that for a cell menu as well. So yeah, that is how you do a default value index. Then we've got sliders, like I said. Sliders are quite fun, and then we can put the name above the slider, which is going to be select number. Then these two numbers here are what it's going to start from and what the max value is. So we can put 0 here, and then we can put 999. And we can save that, and then we can put the default value as 69. And then we can go in here and do a / reload, and then we have to do form 3. You guys will see that we can go all the way down to 0, and we can go all the way to 999. And if you've seen, when we actually open up the form, it starts as the default value of 69. So that's how you do a slider. And again, for it, it's just going to be default value. So that is how you do a slider. And then for dot toggle, which is this little switch down here that we can toggle it off or toggle it on, that is simply just dot toggle, the name of it, and then inside of here, this is where we inside of some curly brackets, we need to put whether it's going to be on or whether it's going to be off. So we're going to put a boolean here, which is either true or false. So if we put false here, then it's going to be, the default value is going to be, it's off. So if we open up this form now, and we do a / reload and open up form 3, you guys can see it's off by default, but we can still toggle it on and off if we want to, but it's off by default. Then if we go to here, and we set it back to true, and then we do a / reload, and then open it up again, you guys can see it's now on by default because it is true, but we can turn this on and off as the player. Then we've got the OK button. No, you don't need to put an OK button in here, but we can name what that button says. So this is going to be the .submit button. Now, the B in button has to be capitalized, and for this we can type whatever we want, and that is going to be our confirmation button at the end of it. So if we / reload and do form 3, as you can see, that is now our confirmation button name. Now, again, I don't know if there is a limit to how long this can be. I'm guessing there is, like most buttons in Minecraft, there is a limit. So if we just do / reload, and then open up form 3, you guys can see it does ... So there is a limit to this. So yeah, make sure that whatever you're calling your button, it could be confirm, it could be yes, it could be submit, anything like that. Make sure that this button's name is not too long. I think the longest is 16 characters, but again, it also depends on what resource pack you're using, because if you have a custom resource pack that makes texts really small, then you can put loads on here. But the default one, I think, is either 16 or 21, so keep it within them character limits. So yeah, we can get rid of all of this now, and we can just put in, save it, and then if we open up Minecraft, and we do a / reload, you guys can see when I open up form 3, it just says confirm. So that is how you do it for a .submit button. Again, we've got the .show player here. This is for the end of every single one. And the .show is pretty simple. And then if people are using custom commands, make sure you put this if statement in, and also put in the if data.cancelled return. This just stops any errors. I forgot to mention that. So look, if we get rid of this and then click save, and then we do a / reload, you'll actually see if we open form 3 and we just cancel it, it gives us an error because it says it's undefined. It won't mess anything up, but if we put obviously if data.cancelled equals data.cancelled return, that just stops the error from happening if players obviously exit. Now, players can't see this error but we can see it as operators inside of, not operators, as the owner of the world inside of the content log GUI. But if you don't want that error happening, you can just put if data.cancelled return. Now we've got this, right? Now this is how we are going to get the form values from what we put inside of it. So if we open up the chat, you will see that earlier we put as the text input, we put Mark is my name, drop down index is 0, and the amount is 7, and the confirm is true. If you wanted to save these values and be able to use them be able to see the values, because again, if you're making a model form data, you're going to want to be able to see the values. You're going to want to see what people put in. Now you can store this in dynamic properties or anything like that. We just send a message to the chat using player.sendMessage, but you can do whatever you want. You could have this sent to your saved to a dynamic property. Again, if you want to know how dynamic properties work, please check out my video on my channel about dynamic properties, and that goes in depth on all the dynamic properties that you can save. So yeah, and this dynamic property will have to be saved to a world. Don't save it to a player. You can, but I don't recommend it. And don't save it to an item. Again, I don't recommend it. Because if it's a form value and you want to be able to see it when a player's offline, like a ban report, yeah, save it to the world, not the player. Because if the player's offline, you won't be able to see it. But anyway, that's to do with dynamic properties. If you want to, deep dive into dynamic properties and how they work, then please check out my other video. But anyway, so we're going to put a const here, and then inside the const, we're going to put another array, and in here, we're going to put text input. That's going to be for the text field. Then for the drop-down index, that's going to be for the drop-down. The amount is going to be for sliders, and confirm is going to be toggles. There's nothing for the submit button because it's a button. But yeah, so that the confirm is going to be for the toggle. The amount is going to be for the slider. The drop-down index is going to be for drop-down, and text input is going to be for the text field. Then we're going to put an equal sign and call it data.formValues. And the form values is obviously going to be everything to do with this. So yeah, once we've done that, and we've typed this out, we can then do player.sendMessage, and then we can say all of this, which is simply just a player.sendMessage. And again, we're just saying text input, then going to a new line, and then doing the drop-down index, and then showing what that is, and then the amount, and then showing what the amount is, and then confirm, and then showing what the confirm is. So yeah, that is all of the form values inside of Minecraft. If I didn't explain this well enough, then I'll do another deep dive into forms and other things that you can do with them, and I'll even incorporate other things like dynamic properties and how to save form values to a dynamic property if you want me to. But that is all of the forms inside of Minecraft. Now, if you guys want a detailed document about this with the script, then please go down into the link in the description and download it, because that will have all of the notes that I've went over in this video, along with the script itself. So yeah, if you want to get it, then the link to that is down in the description. But anyway, if you like this video, then please do like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you never miss another video of mine. Now, I know this video took a long time to release, but I do have some exciting news, and if you want to know that exciting news, then it's in the Discord, but it is to do with real life. I'm not going to be saying anything on YouTube, but it is to do with my real life. But video schedules should be back to normal now. So yeah, hopefully that you guys can see some more great content. And yeah, if you guys have any other suggestions for videos that you want me to make videos on, then please do let me know down in the comment section below. Now, yes, I have stuttered. I have slipped up on words in this video. And trust me, this video took me like 10 times to record because I haven't done it in a while. So I'm a bit rusty. So do forgive me for, slipping up here and there. Because it's been a while since I've done scripting for Minecraft Bedrock. But anyway, guys, that's enough of me rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's B-Boy Soulless. Peace.